Good morning, NACSMA members. This is Steve Kramer, President of the North American Customer Service Management Association. This is a continuation of our series of interviews with contact center professionals. Welcome, Stefan Paskel.
Thank you for having me, Stephen.
Stefan, our conversation today focuses on leadership sourcing within a contact center environment. When you're choosing a management team, what is the most important factor that you look for when you're choosing that management team?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you're talking about management, you're talking about leadership. So of course you want leaders that are good communicators. You want leaders that are able to make that message, that link between what the company vision is and how it plays out in day-to-day activities. And I would say one of the most important things that you want when you're hiring leaders, you want intentional leaders. You want leaders that aren't hoping for good success. You want leaders that are diligent about being intentional in their activities. They have a plan in place and they're intentional in making sure that that plan is executed on.
So intentional leadership, I love that term. So that really helps you in a couple different aspects, it sounds like. So intentional means that you have a plan. So on internal career pathing, what would be some of the things you look for from hiring within, developing people within an organization for executive sourcing?
Yeah. So, and that's always a good question, right? Sometimes when you think about what that the thought sometimes comes up, internal or external. And your question about the internal hires is so important because that's a way of showing that if I do my time, right? If I work really hard and I'm not really just doing my time, but I'm trying to excel and I'm trying to take my career and my life to that next level, there's a path forward for me. And with intentional leadership, you see that from within. So yeah, when someone's starting, they may not have all of those skills required for that next level, but when you have a leadership team that's key on talent development, personal growth, well, then suddenly you see those skills developing over time. So yeah, when those next opportunities are available, you can make that hire from within and that person can be successful. And since they already know the infrastructure, since they already know the company, very often those internal hires can be productive from day one.
So you hit on a good point. You talked about an internal candidate or internal employees understanding the infrastructure of an organization as well as the structure, which is the departments of an organization. How does that help an organization at it from a big picture perspective, this career planning perspective?
Yeah, because there's skills to do the job, and sometimes there's those intangibles too, the culture of the organization. Someone that's internal may know the different players in the different departments and know how have relationships built already. And very often when you're in an environment, having those relationships is often the key to being able to get things done. Can that be something that's learned? Absolutely. But when you have someone that's already a part of that culture and has built those relationships, then absolutely they can be very, very successful and beneficial, efficient from day one.
So it sounds like internal development of individuals should be your primary strategy. So under what circumstances do you see hiring from the outside?
Yeah, here again, it's a great question and a great thought. So yeah, hiring from within, primary strategy, making that occasional external hire absolutely vital for the long-term success of the organization. Because still it comes up to you don't know what you don't know. And very often as any organization, we're trying to move forward, right? We're trying to stay ahead. We're trying to get that next great edge, whether it's a technology or a process. Where do we get that from? Very often, if we're able to bring someone in from external, perhaps they've already been there, done that. They've implemented something in their previous environment. They have a different view of the world as opposed to those of us that may be inside of that same company for such a long time. They can bring and they can add to the culture of the organization. So absolutely, bringing in that new external hire every once in a while can actually serve to really booster and help in the development of those in the organization.
So at a high level then, as a leader in a contact center environment with multiple departments under your responsibility, what do you see the type of elements that makes that leader successful to enable an organization to have a good career path model, as well as understand the best time to bring someone in from the outside?
Yeah. Well, I think it all starts with this, and I've had some great mentors over the years, and one of the things that always comes up is that you're reminded that you're only as successful as your team is.
Right.
So if you're looking for a great leader, that it starts with that. Because if you remember that, then it's an easy decision. You realize that investing in your leadership team, investing in your employees, it's not optional. If you want to be successful yourself, you have to invest, you have to develop. So that's going to make from the top down, because it truly does start with your leadership team. If you're able to, as a site leader, inculcate that culture from the top down where everybody's on the same page, not that everybody necessarily thinks the same way, but we all bring different things to the table. But if we all have that same central vision and that mission that we're going to enable, we're going to train, we're going to develop, well, we're going to have a bunch of superstars coming up. And then when we need something and we look around the table and that skill's not there, then we know that's a good sign. Who can we bring in that's going to add to our collective knowledge from the outside to really help us get to that next level?
Well, Stefan, this has been a very insightful conversation about leadership and how to develop an organization internally. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you again for having me.
Membership, if you'd like to look at the North American Customer Service Management Association website for more information that Stefan has documented on this subject within the website, please go out and take a look-see at that. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great afternoon.